The theory of Kenny Veach still being alive, could this video prove it? Hi, welcome back. In this video, we're going to be looking at a strange comparison between two different videos. This was recommended to me by Bungee Cord, credit to them. And what it is, if we are basing it off the theory Kenny Veach is still alive, could this video demonstrate that as proof that he is out there and he was seen on camera? The reason why I say that is their voice sounds quite similar to Kenny's, which is a bit weird. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you the video now. Let me know what you think in the comment section.
Told that humans are carnivores, we're omnivores, we're meat eaters, and we're supposed to be doing this. Are you aware that physiologically, the human body is actually 100% herbivorous? Plant eaters. The length of our intestines are somewhere between 7 to 13 times the length of our torso, our trunk.
And it has to do with the house that I am standing in. By the time you finish watching this video, you will know exactly what I'm talking about and what I'm offering.
Intestines on real meat eaters, hyenas, coyotes, bears, tigers, and lions, only 3 to 6 times the length of their torso. They have a short intestinal tract, so they can push through quickly decaying and rotting animal flesh.
And I've got to follow it, and it gets real narrow, and then it starts turning into cliffs and stuff that I got to start climbing down.
And I love to cook, I love to create, and put art all over the house. I'll show you just a little bit of the house right now.
Now, as a brief backstory to that video clip, it was actually found in the comment section of a website which talks about the mystery of Kenny Veach and all kinds of theories. And someone just left it back in 2017 saying, this sounds like Kenny Veach. So I don't believe really anyone has seen this before or covered it at least on YouTube. So I guess this is the first. So after watching and listening to the two videos, you know, the most obvious point to make is in appearance, they look completely different. That professor is bald, Kenny was not, unless he got rid of his hat. Also, the professor was wearing glasses, Kenny didn't wear glasses. So they're like obvious signs to point out on. In terms of height, I'm not too sure about. I mean, they kind of look the same height in terms of weight, you know, not thin, but you know, they kind of look the same in that way regarding to the weight and height. But actual appearance, no, they do look different. But the voice does sound somewhat similar. You know, maybe different audio recording, quality of it might have impacted it slightly. But you know, the way they both talk, the tone, the pitch, and even the pace, the way they're constantly talking and moving on to the next thing fast, is similar to how Kenny Veach talked at times. Maybe because he was enthusiastic and excited what he was doing and what he was talking about, kind of passionate. You could sense that in his voice, whether it be the MK hike video or when he was selling his house and his inventions. And similar to that, that professor sounded quite enthusiastic as well, because he must like what he does and he's interested in those topics and stuff. So that's why he will be talking in that way. So, you know, when I heard it at first, it was kind of weird because it did sound very similar in terms of the voice, but it's hard to say that's Kenny because of the appearance. But can't discredit it completely, because if we add in Atari's theory idea in the past that maybe Kenny Veach is in disguise, you just simply change his identity, literally, you know, depending what situation he was in, whether he was wanted, dangerous people after him in danger, and maybe he would have had to change how he looks, so he could get away with it. But in terms of the voice though, still sounds similar. So you'd have thought he'd have to change his voice as well. So that could make people doubt it being Kenny Veach. So yeah, that's understandable. But you know, there have been a few people that have talked about Kenny changing his identity. You know, if he had to get away, move elsewhere to avoid being detected, that's what you'd have to do. To what extent is unknown, whether it just be the actual identification, what's written on paper, or if it's actually adding prosthetics or removing hair, altering appearance. Maybe it could go that extreme, you never know. But, you know, one thing you would question and say is, well, if Kenny Veach is trying to be undercover, trying to hide from his original identity, what is he doing with that tone of voice? Should he not change it? And why is he a professor? Why is he in a class full of people? Surely you'd be maybe elsewhere, so you're keeping your head down. You won't get recognised as much, maybe. And obviously, do you ever think, why would Kenny Veach be a professor? No, he wouldn't. From what we know of, at least, he wouldn't. It would be a bit random in a way. I mean, the only, I guess, coincidence you could say or link is that professor is talking about, I guess, wildlife, animals, how they are within the environment, how they act, food and stuff. Well, you know, Kenny Veach probably knows a fair bit as well, whilst he spent his time out in the desert, wildlife, I guess food chains, maybe survival. So maybe there is a crossover there at least, alongside with the voice. But if I had to give my, you know, opinion, conclusion, I'd say they're two completely different people. You know, you can get it where people do sound similar to one another. Like even when you get impressionist, you can get an impressionist that will sound very similar to maybe a celebrity. I don't mean to say that the same person, two different people. So yeah, just to reinforce that, not that point, but my conclusion is that people did have doubts and were a bit suspicious when it came to Scott Natal showing up previously, when he first showed up, because of the way he was talking, his tone of voice. People were actually wondering if it was Kenny Veach, the same person. Once again, appearance, they didn't look that similar, but I guess tone of voice or maybe the way he spoke sounded a little bit like Kenny Veach. I'll show you an example right now.
Okay, that's the end for today. I gotta go all the way down.
And then I got to walk all the way along this whole gigantic range on the outside of that mountain because I came down this valley. You'll see this valley, but I'll be out there.
So yeah, the way Scott would strain some of his words and extend lines all the way down, kind of like how Kenny Veach said, all the way down in the mine shaft. So, you know, it can happen. You know, it's a mystery. We're only working with limited stuff. But I just wanted to give my opinion because it was kind of like a viewer recommended one. So I thought I might as well do it. And just to get, I guess, like a little understanding of it, just to see what people are getting at. Because at the end of the day, it is kind of interesting and weird how they do sound so similar. And I guess even their mannerisms with the hand gestures, moving around, not staying still, almost acting quite passionate in body language, but also tone of voice, exactly like Kenny Veach. So all those points are valid and are understandable if you're applying it to Kenny Veach. But I'd say this individual isn't the Kenny Veach, but what it does highlight maybe is the possibility that Kenny Veach, if he is still alive, may well be still out there doing whatever, wherever, and he might have changed in some way. So yeah, that's it for this video. The next one we'll either be looking at some other links, websites which I've been informed about by Bungee Cord, and if not that, immediately I'll be moving on to the next map analysis, which is quite important. So I'll see you there. That's it for now. Goodbye.